But we're getting ready for a trip and it's time to change the oil in Tiger. And I'm going to be putting in a Fumoto engine oil drain valve. And this is what it looks like here. You can, hopefully the camera's focusing in on that. But anyway, it's a F106SX as in Sam X-Ray, Frank 106 Sam X-Ray. And it consists of two parts. Well, actually three. There's this locking piece right here that you put on it. But there's a banjo valve, or banjo bolt, I guess, and then here's the valve part of it right here. And if we show that in there, and then the banjo bolt. And the banjo bolt goes through that, and what it will allow me to do is adjust where I want the valve to go. So give me a little bit of play. I don't think I need an extender valve on this. And the other thing I bought for it too then was this tubing kit. And it's got a couple of white end attachments here, and you attach that to the valve, and then you attach the hose to that. And then when you are draining your oil, you just flip this switch, or flip the valve on it, and it'll start draining the oil for you. So let's start putting this on. Alright, now that we got the car up in the air, I put the front wheels on the ramps, and then underneath in the back we jack it up by that cross member right there, and then put the jack stands underneath it, and that'll level the car so we can get all the oil out. Now the next step is to take off this plate underneath here, and that's held in with 7 screws, or 7 bolts I mean, and they're 12mm, and you take off all of them except the one that's over on the right hand side over here, because that one actually has a slotted area, and that helps hold the pan on when you're putting it back up. So we're going to take the pan off now. Okay, now we got the pan off, and you can see the oil filter right here, and the drain bolt is actually right here. So we're going to obviously take the drain bolt off and then drain all the oil out. So let's get the drain bolt off and go from there. I believe this is a 17mm. Alright, this is where I utilize my handy little tool that allows me to remove the drain plug magnetically, and I don't really get dirty, which is kind of nice. Alright. I'm just kind of keep an eye on this here and watch it drain. And we'll just let the oil run out, and I'll get the drain plug all cleaned up and get ready to put the well, then we'll take the filter off. Alright, next thing we're going to do is get the oil filter out of there. And there's a really cool trick for this. We're going to put a plastic cup underneath it and squeeze it. And then we're going to pull it off. But first I've got to make sure it's a little bit loose. And it looks like I might have to use the ratchet on it here. Alright, it's loose. You get my oil filter wrench off of it. And we'll take the plastic cup here and take it off. You'll see the plastic cup's going to catch all the oil. And now that's dripping over the oil pans, or the oil catch pan, so we'll move that out of the way, and you can see that all the oil's caught here. So then we'll pour that into the pan once that drains out. Alright, before we put the valve in, I'm going to put the oil filter back on, and you know, you always put a little oil around the rubber there on the oil filter. And we're just going to screw that in. We get that tight, and we always just hand tighten you get there tight and you turn it about maybe a quarter of a turn or so, and that's all there is to it. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to get that new valve in. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is clear the oil off of here. Hopefully I can get it to stop there. And then we'll screw the valve in, which is not going to stop draining, of course. So I'll get this threaded. And then look for a good place for it to stop. I think that should be pretty good. I have to lower it a little bit there like this. I don't think I can put it that way. It seems really tight that way. And I'm going to thread it in right here. And I'm just threading it by hand. There's a rubber O-ring that's on this side of the washer. And I've got this is a 10 millimeter hex. I'm just going to try and tighten this down a little bit. And then the specs call for 18 foot-pounds on the bolt. So we'll get this on here and give it a tighten to 18 foot-pounds. Alright, and that's 18 foot-pounds. Now I should be able to open my valve, which I can, that's good. And then the last thing, I got to put the little blue clip on there. Because it's really tight against the oil pan, it's not going so well. So I would think maybe an extender would be really better for this one. And unfortunately on their website, they don't do a really good job of telling you which one you should get or what. So there we go. Oh no, that's okay. Now that fits on there well. Alright, I see how I did it. That fits on there really good right there. So that's good. So we'll put all the bolts back in and put the pan on it, and that should just about do it. Fill it up with oil. So pretty simple. Doesn't take very long. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you in the next video. One thing I did want to show you before filling oil, I got this at Harbor Freight. This thing's really nice. You just pour the oil in this thing here, and then you can keep an eye on your gauge by the can itself on the side here, and you let the oil go in. I'm just going to pour a little bit in because I want to make sure it's not going to leak down below. So it's going to take about 4.2 quarts. And we'll of course put it down on the ground, check it, and make sure when it's done. But I thought this is a nifty little tool.